So let us discuss 10th October 2015 newspaper. Now here, let us try to understand the M.K. Narayanan's article related to the Pakistan and recent assertiveness of the Pakistan. Now we all know that post 1965 war and 1971 war, Pakistan tried to internationalize the Kashmir issue. In 1971 war, after a setback, the Shimla conference, it has made it very clear that Kashmir has to be a bilateral issue. Before the ink on the paper has dried, Mr. Bhutto travelled to Pakistan and changed its stand. Now, international community also has duly recognized the Kashmir as a bilateral issue that has to be solved between these two countries. When Mr. Obama tried to appoint Mr. Holbrooke as a special representative to the South Asia, including the Kashmir issue, India has deeply resented such a move. Now in this context, the Pakistan from time to time it is trying to internationalize the Kashmiri issue. Recently in UN General Assembly, Pakistan spoke about the human rights violations, and none other than the Prime Minister of the Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, accused India of keeping Kashmir under the foreign occupation. Now in this context, India also gave a reply to the Pakistan in which it tried to raise the plight of the people in Pak-occupied Kashmir and also in Balochistan. So it's more appeared like a tit for tat. In this context, it is more seen as a knee-jerk reaction from India that may not do good for India in the long run, or which is like playing into the hands of the Pakistan on internationalizing the issue of the Kashmir. So, if you see globally, especially this article, the Pakistan has a reputation of an irresponsible power and a global terror hub. On the other hand, global society sees India as a responsible power aspiring for a greater role, UN permanent seat, etc., with regard to the global politics concerned. So now there is a popular saying, if you believe yourself as a power, then you have to behave as one. It means India reacting to Pakistan and this tit for tat knee-jerk reaction, it has made India close to Pakistan or equated India with Pakistan. So such a knee-jerk reactions we have to avoid. We have to deeply see the meaning into these reactions. Now, why the Pakistan all of a sudden is appearing too assertive nowadays? Why is it so assertive nowadays? Now always in Pakistan, army calls the shots with regard to the issues related to India. So a weak state, a strong army, the nuclear arsenal, plus the religious extremism, which is providing for cross-border terrorism, Lashkar-e-Taiba, all these factors together makes Pakistan inherently dangerous to the neighbors. And the second thing is growing assurance from China. China-Pakistan economic corridor that has both economic and security implications to India, or I will say economic and strategic implications to India, or new nuclear deterrence, assertive military, and stable relationships between the army and civilian government. All these factors can be seen as a new reasons for the assertiveness of the Pakistan, which is visible in its effort towards internationalizing this Kashmir issue. So India has to be very careful in its response because the global view of India itself is different from the Pakistan. And next is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's response to the Dadri's lynching is more of a generalized response to the communal violence. Now he tries to equate the majoritarian communalism and minoritarian communalism on the same line. Understand that the reasons for this communalism varies. Minoritarian communalism, it flows from sense of insecurity, but majoritarian communalism flows from the sense of assertiveness. So in these circumstances, the insecurities are inherent among the minorities in a plural society. So I am not supporting the communalism here. Any communalism is inherently bad. But the intensity of the majoritarian communalism is much worse. So the violation of life and property the majoritarian communalism can do is going to be much worse compared to minoritarian communalism. So equating these two is not appropriate. Now in this context, majoritarian communalism in the long run, it will do greater damage to the democratic polity and national unity. So in this context, treating unequals as equals, there can be no greater inequality than this. Now, two sides of an ambitious deal. This is about trans-Pacific partnerships. Counter to this, the China is bringing in a regional comprehensive economic partnership. So, one way we cannot see this as China-centric, we can better say it as ASEAN-centric. Now, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, it is central to the economic dimension of President Obama's pivot of Asia policy. Pivot to Asia. The United States plus 11 partners including Japan and Canada, they account for more than 40% of the global GDP, and it is going to free more than 18,000 items from various trade barriers. Now in this context, what the TPP impact on United States economy will be. So the acquisition is, it will lead to the job reduction in United States economy. It will not serve the interests of the common man. It will only be useful for the corporates and their benefits. That is the reason why you can see Mr. Trump and also Bernie Sanders, both of them are presidential nominees of the respective parties, are not nominees. So they who are contesting in primaries, they have strongly opposed to TPP. Now in this context, TPP can it counter or control China? Now the China and American economies are so closely integrated with each other. China cannot be confronted by United States. So I can say that there is an assured mutual destruction of each other's economy if either tries to undermine the other. So China has invested more than $1 trillion in the United States Treasury bonds. That shows the integration. So what Mr. Joseph Stiglitz, the economist, says is, the Trans-Pacific Partnership will not serve either the economic or security interests of United States of America. And the next article is about Nobel Prize. Now, if you see the Arab Spring, now what is the reason for the Arab Spring? Unemployment, young population, corrupt government, and authoritarian rule. That is what is the reason for the Arab Spring. It has started in Tunisia, spread to Egypt, Yemen. It is almost led to the entire Arab world changing from authoritarian to democratic. But in the process, many of the countries went into chaos. Now if you compare Yemen, Syria, Iraq, etc. on one side, Tunisia on the other side, the Tunisia is very much stable. The reason is the stable democracy was established through the efforts of the civil society. You can quote this as an example for civil society in your notebook. So, the civil society played a constructive role, which is called a national dialogue quartet. So which consists of lawyers, trade unions, labor unions, etc., human rights activists, etc. Now, it shows clearly the constructive role the civil society can play in mediating the interests of the different groups towards a common national purpose. So, the Nobel Prize is recognition of this effort. The Tunisia's quartet, it tried to establish a constitution, mediation of different interests in the country, and finally a secular society. So this itself is a very big achievement, and it can send an example for other countries that are suffering from civil war and strife post Arab Spring. So that's what is worth it. And the next is booming startups are not a bubble. Understand the startup climate, especially with regard to the retail sector, is increasing. So, because of this, hitherto, the rural markets have suffered from lack of access to the various goods. Now this access is improved and it is going to enlarge the size of the market. So it means no one need not be threatened because of the coming of these e-applications or e-commerce ventures. Though initially they may appear that they are threatening the others, but over a period of time they are going to create their own market. So that is what we need to understand. So this is about 10th October 2015 newspaper. I will not upload the newspaper of Sunday. And if you want to get these articles delivered to your email, log on to laex.in and register your name over there. You may get it onto your emails if it once uploaded over there. Or you can get into Rambabu students on the Facebook where I will be uploading them, and take a week as a reference point. From Sunday to Sunday, I will try to upload all the videos of the previous week by this Sunday. So generally within 24 hours of gap, I'll try to upload the video. Even I'll try to normalize everything, back up if anything is missed by Sunday. So this is what is my approach will be. So thank you very much and all the best.